He was a serial killer who bragged about killing people, and he professed and confessed to be a demon.
In America's hip-hop industry, unfortunately, there's an overwhelming number of murders. In this story, we'll look back at rappers who have killed or were accused of being involved in murder cases. Welcome to the Top Art Legends. Max B, 2006 case. And so, this story begins with Charlie Wingate, known as Max B, was convicted in 2009 for conspiracy related to armed robbery, kidnapping, aggravated assault, and felony murder. He, his on and off girlfriend Gina Conway, and his stepbrother Kelvin Leardam had planned to rob two men at a Holiday Inn in New Jersey in September 2006. However, the robbery didn't go as planned. Leardam ended up shooting and killing one of the victims. In 2009, Max B was sentenced to 75 years in prison. But in 2016, he accepted a plea deal and had his sentence reduced to 20 years for aggravated manslaughter. In a phone interview on the Joe Budden podcast, released in December 2024, Max B stated that he's set to be released as early as November 2025.
Coming back soon, wavy baby coming home real soon.
All right, do we have a date yet?
We got a date. I'll be on November 9th, 2025, baby. We 10 months away.
Okay. Let's go. Yeah.
This the first definitive answer y'all got from me, so you already know. Nigga, look it up. It's on the computer. It's in the system. I'm good. Everything is...
G.Dep, 1993 case. Travell Coleman, known as G.Dep, is best known for his hits Special Delivery and Let's Get It. In 1993, at just 18 years old, Coleman shot a stranger in the chest with a .40 caliber handgun outside the James Weldon Johnson housing projects in Harlem. Notably, he's the only one on this list who didn't face immediate consequences, simply because the case remained unsolved for years. In 1998, Coleman signed with P. Diddy's Bad Boy Records and released several albums that charted reasonably well. But guilt eventually caught up with him. In 2010, struggling with drug addiction and unable to carry the emotional weight any longer, he made the decision to come clean and confess. "That's just the life I was living back then," he said. "I started to wonder if all the bad things that happened to me in my life were karma for what I did. You start to think my happiness is because of someone else's sadness. I thought that if I turned myself in, it might give me closure." He walked into a Harlem police precinct and confessed to the 1993 shooting. G.Dep told officers that he had attempted to rob a stranger at gunpoint when a struggle broke out over the weapon. He fired 3 shots and fled the scene. Authorities quickly connected his confession to the unsolved murder of 32-year-old John Henkel.
Willing to, put myself on the line if, whether or not he passed on or not. I just, I needed to get that off of my mind, off of my heart. So, the spirit moved me to turn myself in. I went to the precinct and I told them, everything that, that happened that night. And
after a week-long trial in 2012, a jury found Coleman guilty of second-degree murder. He was sentenced to 15 years to life in prison. In a 2013 prison interview, he explained his decision to confess. "I think I was just at a point, where it was like, enough is enough." After serving 13 years, G.Dep was granted clemency in late 2023 and released from prison in April 2024. "It's still things that I have to do," Coleman said. "I would like to give back to the society."
Being G-Dub, how was that like for you doing 13 years in prison? How was that experience like?
It teaches you a lot of things, man, being in prison.
Today, he works as a music producer at Scan Harbor, a non-profit organization that supports at-risk youth and families in Harlem and the South Bronx.
What I write is, hard is trying to spar with arthritis.
Raw Diggs, convicted in 2014.
Raised by my older cousins, help me serve niggas.
The phenomenon of fascination with violence and brutal killings, Ronald Herron, leader of the Blood Street Gang, but also known as rapper Raw Diggs. He rose as a serious rap artist while in prison, spending long hours in recording studios and clubs, promoting his music career. Raised in Gowanus Houses, a Brooklyn housing project, Herron was first imprisoned at age 14 for armed robbery. After his release, he dove deeper into violence and drug trafficking, themes that dominated his rap videos, which would later be used as key evidence against him.
Music videos in and of themselves and the lyrics in and of themselves would never be proof beyond a reasonable doubt. But could it be something that a jury takes into consideration when they're weighing the credibility of other witnesses or weighing the credibility of other evidence?
On June 26, 2014, after a month-long jury trial, Herron was convicted on 21 counts, including racketeering, murder in aid of racketeering, drug trafficking conspiracy, robbery, and weapons charges. Prosecutors proved that Herron committed numerous violent acts to maintain control over drug operations in 2 public housing projects, Gowanus Houses and Wyckoff Gardens, in the Boerum Hill area of Brooklyn. In 2001, he killed Frederick Brooks, but was acquitted in state court after witnesses refused to testify due to intimidation by Herron and his associates. After regaining control of the drug trade in Gowanus and Wyckoff Gardens, Herron went on to murder Richard Russo in 2008 and Victor Zapata in 2009. Crimes he later bragged about in his lyrics. He portrayed himself as the leader of the murderous Mad Dogs, a faction of the Blood Street Gang.
His childhood friend Shanduk McFadder says prosecutors are smearing Herron with stereotypes and circumstantial evidence.
The music is basically us talking about the life that we come from, not necessarily saying this is what I did. You know, this is a very intelligent man, and this is not a man who would commit all these crimes and didn't tell you for you to use it against him.
Despite claiming to be just a rapper, not a killer, testimony from over 50 witnesses helped seal his fate. Herron was the brutal enforcer behind a violent crew that terrorized parts of Brooklyn for years. For years, Ronald Herron unleashed brutal, unrelenting violence on his community while glorifying his criminal lifestyle as a crack-dealing gangster. Today's sentence put an end to all of that, for good, stated United States Attorney Lench. Herron styled himself a rap artist, but the evidence proved that he was a murderous thug who sought power through violence, fear, and intimidation. Let today's sentence send a message to other gang members who terrorize their own communities. We and our federal and city law enforcement partners will not tolerate such heinous criminal conduct. He was sentenced to 12 life terms plus 105 years in prison. Tay-K, 2016 case. Tamor Trayvon McIntyre, known as Tay-K, launched his rap career at just 14 years old. His breakout hit The Race gained massive attention as it detailed his escape from police right before standing trial, while he was literally on the run for murder. So, what happened? In 2016, Tay-K was part of a group of 7 people who carried out a home invasion targeting 17-year-old Zachary Belote. The plan went wrong, and Ethan Walker, a friend of the homeowner, was fatally shot during the robbery.
A Tarrant County teenager was convicted of murder this morning for his role in a deadly home invasion robbery. 19-year-old Tamor McIntyre goes by the name Tay-K47 in his online rap videos. He was convicted for his role in the shooting death of 21-year-old Ethan Walker in 2006.
Tay-K was placed under house arrest in 2017, but in March of that year, he cut off his ankle monitor and fled. He was captured on June 30th, 2017 in New Jersey. While on the run, in April 2017, Tay-K allegedly shot and killed 23-year-old Mark Anthony Saldivar during a robbery outside a Chick-fil-A in Texas. The following month in May, he reportedly assaulted and robbed 65-year-old Oni Skip Pepe in Arlington, Texas, holding him at gunpoint until he lost consciousness. A passerby later found and helped the injured man. In July 2019, Tay-K pleaded guilty to aggravated robbery in the Mansfield case. A jury then found him guilty of murder and one additional count of robbery. He was sentenced to 55 years for the murder, 30 years for aggravated robbery, and 26 years combined for 2 other robbery charges, all to be served concurrently. In March 2025, Tay-K faced trial for a second murder, related to the 2017 killing of Mark Saldivar.
So it says, we the jury find the defendant, Tamar McIntyre, not guilty of the offense of capital murder as charged in the indictment. We the jury find the defendant, Tamar McIntyre, guilty of the lesser included offense of murder. Does anyone wish to have the jury polled? Not the state.
He was found guilty and received a sentence of 80 years, which will run concurrently with his previous sentence. Lul G, 2019 case. Former SOB and RBE rapper George Harris, known as Lul G, was charged with first-degree murder after being arrested in September 2019 for his involvement in the killing of a man named Flowers on July 24th, 2019. The rapper and several others had gathered at Flowers' home, reportedly for a music video shoot. Witnesses stated that the men started gambling, during which Lul G lost money to Flowers and was using drugs while playing dice. An argument broke out and nearly escalated into a physical fight when Lul G pulled out a gun and shot Flowers in the abdomen. A witness later drove Flowers to a nearby hospital, where he died from his injuries. Initially, Lul G pleaded not guilty.
If I could get a nigga found, but I'ma do it myself.
But just before sentencing, he changed his plea to guilty. This allowed him to avoid a jury trial and the possibility of a first-degree murder conviction, which could have carried a sentence of 25 years to life. In May 2023, the rapper was sentenced to 21 years in prison. Dresta, 1994 case. Andre Deshaun Wicker, known as Gangsta Dresta, is a rapper best remembered for his collaboration with Eazy-E on the 1993 single Real Muthaphuckkin G's. In 1994, Andre was involved in a gang shootout at the Imperial Court Housing Project in Watts, Los Angeles. The primary target was Tyrone Thomas, a member of the P.J. Watts Crips. A total of 25 shots were fired. 6 hit Thomas, killing him. However, Thomas managed to return fire, and Dresta was wounded but survived. Later, Dresta was charged with Thomas's murder. He pleaded not guilty to 1 count of voluntary manslaughter and was ultimately sentenced to 1 year of probation. In August 1995, Dresta released his only studio album, Real Brothas, with his brother B.G. Knoccout, which peaked at number 128 on the Billboard 200. Although there were a few minor collaborations later, his career ultimately failed to take off. J.Dee, 1993 case. J.Dee was a member of Ice Cube's posse, Da Lench Mob, alongside Shorty, Malky, and T-Bone. In 1992, the group released their gold-certified album, Guerillas, in the Mist. However, while working on their second album, Planet of Da Apes, J.Dee picked up a murder charge.
Coming straight from it's the west side.
He was convicted in 1993 for the murder of 23-year-old Scott named Pearl Charles. Although J.Dee claims he didn't pull the trigger, he admitted guilt as an instigator of the killing. During a hearing, J.Dee confessed to the parole board about his involvement in the murder. In his words, "I do accept responsibility because I brought everyone to that drama that night. Every person involved in that. From the very first scuffle, I even picked 2 people up who was not part of the original scuffle, brought them back to the location. I am responsible for everything that took place that night." In 1993, he was sentenced to life in prison. However, after serving 25 years and showing genuine remorse, he was granted parole in 2021. The lead commissioner commented, "You were remorseful and appropriately emotional when you discussed the harm you caused to your victims," Long said.
So I was blessed to be reunited with the family and hopefully complete the mission that he got me on, bro.
At the time, J.Dee promised to move into transitional housing, start working for a limousine service, and eventually relocate to live with his fiancée. Mac Minister, 2005 case. Andre Dow, known as Mac Minister, was a former rapper who appeared on America's Most Wanted due to suspicion of murdering rapper Anthony Fat Tone Watkins. According to prosecutors, the killing was an act of revenge for the death of Bay Area hip-hop icon Mac Dre. However, Dow denied any close connection to Mac Dre, claiming they were from different neighborhoods. In May 2005, investigators say Dow and an accomplice lured Watkins and his friend, Jermaine Cowboy Akins, to Las Vegas under the pretense of meeting Snoop Dogg. Instead, the two were shot and killed, and their bodies were later found on the outskirts of the city. Surveillance footage showed Dow leaving a hotel with the victims shortly before the murders. Afterward, he disappeared and remained a fugitive for 10 months until his arrest on March 2, 2006, in San Francisco. In 2008, Dow was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
I'm here for 2 counts of first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder. 2 counts of conspiracy to commit murder. They gave me 4 lives without the possibility of parole.
He maintains his innocence, claiming he was simply helping promote Watkins' career and was at a radio station at the time of the killings. Later, one of the prosecution's key witnesses, Antoine Mouton, recanted his testimony, admitting he lied in exchange for leniency and money. Mouton said he didn't even know Dow, and records showed he was actually in jail at the time of the crime. Still, the appeals court upheld the conviction, stating that there was enough evidence to support Dow's guilt, even without Mouton's testimony. To this day, Dow continues to insist he is innocent. Whether he's a victim of the system or truly guilty remains unclear. C. Murder, 2002 case.
His weapon is a shame he got his boy blood on the muzzle.
Corey Miller, known as C. Murder, was a rapper on No Limit Records, the label owned by his brother, Master P. In 2003, he was sentenced to life in prison for the murder of 16-year-old Steve Thomas. According to investigators, during an argument at the Platinum Club in Louisiana, Miller allegedly shot the teenager at point-blank range. Thomas died at the hospital, and Miller was arrested. He was found guilty by a jury in 2003, and again in a retrial in 2009.
They got me down here for a second-degree murder, you know. Something I ain't doing when they tripping on me like that because of my name, my status, my character, you feel me? I feel like they've been out to get a nigga, you see what I'm saying? So they trying to get me nuts. This shit corrupt over here, I'm in Jefferson Parish. This shit corrupt as a mother, you feel feel me? So all I gotta do now is fight to get my way up out of here, you heard me?
However, C. Murder has maintained his innocence from the beginning. In 2018, the case took a dramatic turn when two key witnesses recanted their testimony, saying they had been pressured into identifying Miller as the shooter. Both signed sworn affidavits stating that Miller was not the gunman.
I want him to know I'm not upset with him, and I'm proud of him. And me and my family, my daughters, especially, we thank him. For real, I mean, it's a life changer.
His attorney argued that aside from these testimonies, there was no direct evidence linking Miller to the shooting. Despite this, in 2019, a judge denied the request for a new trial, stating the new witness statements were not strong enough to overturn the original conviction. It looks like someone really doesn't like this guy or was bothering them. C. Murder has now spent over 15 years behind bars, but continues to fight for his freedom. He says his faith in justice is kept alive by his 3 daughters, who are still waiting for him to come home.
Like my big brother in jail. Nigga looked out for me, kept me straight, smartened me up. I was that young wild nigga, straight breaking the rules. I had hate in my heart for the law. He was on some bullshit.
Chi Ali, 2000 case. Chi Ali Griffith, a member of the Native Tongues hip-hop collective, is best known for his debut album, The Fabulous Chi Ali, released in 1992. He also appeared twice on episodes of America's Most Wanted. On January 14th, 2000, Griffith shot and killed Sean Raymond during an argument in the Throgs Neck neighborhood of the Bronx. Raymond was the brother of Griffith's then girlfriend. After the shooting, Griffith fled New York. He remained on the run for over a year until he was arrested in March 2001. Griffith was later convicted and served 12 years of a 14-year sentence at Sing Sing Correctional Facility.
That was it was just one of those heated a moment things.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, me and him, when I think we wasn't enemies, that shit is definitely one of them heated a moment things. I mean, it wasn't somebody we wasn't cool with. We fought a lot. It was definitely our first argument, but looking back, it wasn't that. I mean,
yeah, I
was young, hothead, you know.
Yeah.
And that's why I tell people, it's very, very important. Don't carry a gun, yo. Because if you got it, you way more likely to use it. You way more likely to.
But this is also a story about transformation. During his time in prison, Chi Ali earned a bachelor's degree in behavioral science and has since become an activist. His biggest passion now is fighting against solitary confinement and advocating for its abolition. Ali says, "Solitary confinement is prison on top of prison. You can say it's awful, and it is. Solitary confinement and prison too, they're awful. But until you experience it, it's only words." He ends, "It's definitely a tool used to break individuals." Big Lurch, case from 2002. Antron Singleton, known as Big Lurch, didn't just rap about the typical themes of hip-hop culture. His lyrics often delved into the macabre, referencing serial killers like Jeffrey Dahmer and horror movie villains like Jason Voorhees and Freddy Krueger. This made him a prominent figure in a subgenre of hip-hop called horrorcore. But what did his disturbing lyrics ultimately lead to? On April 10th, 2002, Singleton was arrested after police found him running naked and covered in blood on the street. Later, in his apartment, they discovered the body of Tynisha, a 21-year-old mother of 2 and Singleton's roommate. A medical examination revealed that Singleton had human flesh in his stomach that did not belong to him. Tanisha's boyfriend, who discovered her body, stated that he and Singleton had taken the drug P.P. the day before the murder. Investigators concluded that Singleton had broken Tynisha's neck and jaw shattered one of her eye sockets, cut open her chest, and removed her right lung.
I didn't know nothing about that. The next thing I remember is waking up in a room by myself.
Although Singleton pleaded not guilty during his trial, on November 7, 2003, he was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. The court accepted the prosecution's argument that drug use could not excuse his actions or be grounds for insanity. At one point, Singleton explained his motive, claiming that he believed the end of the world was near and that he needed to kill the devil before it happened.
I mean, all I can remember, the world was going to end, and I had to find the devil and kill the devil before the world ended. That's the last thought that I had.
Cassidy, 2005 case.
I got 20 strips all doing 20 a day.
Barry Adrian Reese, known as Cassidy, first gained attention in the late 1990s for his freestyles and battle rap competitions. By the end of the decade, he founded the Philadelphia hip-hop collective Larceny Family.
Then the comment said that I can't make a hit record.
In 2005, Cassidy and two other men fired shots at 3 unarmed individuals during a fight in Philadelphia. A man named Desmond Hawkins died from a gunshot wound to the back. Cassidy was charged with third-degree murder, attempted murder, reckless endangerment, aggravated assault, and weapons-related offenses. The charges were later reduced after one of the witnesses recanted their testimony. In 2006, Cassidy was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter, aggravated assault, and possession of a weapon for an unlawful purpose. He was sentenced to 11 to 23 months in prison, with credit for 7 months already served. He was released after 8 months.
So let me have your math and then I'm going.
It's interesting how the defense attorneys managed to secure such a light sentence for someone found guilty. YNW Melly, 2019 case. Jamel Demons, known as YNW Melly, ran into serious legal trouble just as his career was taking off. A month before his arrest, he dropped the mixtape We All Shine featuring Kanye West, and his eerie 2017 single Murder on My Mind had just gone gold. In February 2019, Melly was arrested and charged with double murder. Authorities allege that he and fellow rapper YNW Bortlin killed 2 of their close friends and staged the crime scene to look like a drive-by shooting. On Instagram, Melly insisted he was innocent. Unfortunately, a lot of rumors and lies are being said, but no worries, God is with me. The post was later deleted. Investigators pointed to phone records that allegedly placed Melly at the scene of the crime. In June 2023, YNW Melly went to trial in Florida and pleaded not guilty. However, in July, the retrial was canceled. As of now, Melly remains in jail, awaiting a new trial set to begin in September 2025.
There's no law nor statute that says, or rule that says we can't come back and argue for his release after a year and a half of what's been going on.
Kid Creole, 2017 case. Nathaniel Glover, known as Kid Creole, was a member of the pioneering hip-hop group Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five.
Mind blind to the ways of mankind.
Although his music career had long faded by the time of the incident, he had made a significant impact on early hip-hop history as part of the Furious Five. So, what did this man do to get 16 years in prison? In 2017, a homeless man named John Jolly was stabbed to death, twice in the chest with a steak knife. Glover was allegedly enraged because, according to his attorney, he believed Jolly was gay and hitting on him. The judge rejected Glover's claims of self-defense. "You didn't know him," she told him in court. "You didn't know that he had a history of violence or was a sexual offender. Those things were not known and don't have much relevance in terms of anybody's action in this case." In 2022, Glover was convicted of manslaughter for the killing of the homeless man. A life is a life, whether the person is homeless, whether the person is a CEO, said Manhattan Supreme Court Justice Michelle Rodney. Cool C, 1996, case. A failed bank robber and convicted killer of a female police officer, Christopher Douglas Roney, known as Cool C, was one of the early members of the Philadelphia hip-hop group Hilltop Hustlers. His 1987 debut, single Juice Crew Des, brought him significant attention. In 1988, he signed with Atlantic Records and released 2 full-length solo albums, I Got a Habit, 1989, and Life in the Ghetto, 1990. Both albums were successful and stayed on the charts for several weeks. His career was just beginning, and it looked promising, until everything changed in one day in 1996. On January 2nd, 1996, Roney, along with fellow CEB group member Warren McGlone, aka Steady B, and another Philadelphia rapper, Mark Canty, attempted to rob a PNC bank branch in the Feltonville section of Philadelphia. The robbery went wrong, and as the trio fled the scene, Roney fatally shot a female police officer during a shootout. Roney was arrested on October 30th, 1996, and later convicted of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to death by lethal injection. His execution was initially scheduled for March 2006, but it has been repeatedly postponed ever since. Roney maintains his innocence, despite 3 eyewitnesses placing him at the scene and surveillance footage confirming his presence. He is currently incarcerated at the State Correctional Institution, Phoenix. While in prison, he converted to Islam and has since followed a spiritual path. Rosco P. Coldchain, 2008 case.
To chill, my percentile rises in the battlefield.
Amin Porter, known as Rosco P. Coldchain, rose to prominence in the early 2000s, working with artists like Pusha T and the Neptunes, notably on his standout 2003 single, Hot.
I scare the shit out of bank tellers so I can become rich.
But his career was cut short in 2008, when he was arrested in connection with a fatal shooting in Philadelphia that left 2 people dead. One of them, a teenager, who later died at Frankfurt Hospital, Torresdale. Initially detained as a suspect in the double homicide, Porter was later formally charged. He remained incarcerated for about 14 years. In November 2022, Amin Porter was released from prison after serving his sentence. He began making his return to music and, in early January 2023, announced a new EP.
I got 13 years for homicide. I got 13 years for homicide. Unfortunately, it's 13 years for homicide that I didn't commit.
Oh, that you didn't commit? Wow.
Oh, man, we just had somebody who...
Man, that's a whole nother story.
Wow.
Kenny Ennis, he did like 26.
Man. So, you know what I'm saying? But people, places, and things, you place yourself around people. And, you know what I'm saying? You know, shit happens.
X-rated, 1992 case. Anare Vashon Brown, known as X-rated, is a rapper whose legal troubles began shortly after the release of his debut album, Psychoactive, in April 1992. Just a month later, he was arrested along with 4 other Crips gang members in connection with the murder of Patricia Harris, who was killed during a home invasion. Prosecutors pointed to Brown's lyrics as evidence, accusing him of premeditated murder, even though the murder weapon was never recovered. Brown has maintained his innocence. His second album, Zorcist, was recorded over the phone while he was in jail awaiting trial. He was later sentenced to 31 years in prison, but incarceration didn't stop his music career. His third album was recorded on a DAT recorder smuggled in by a prison guard. Brown even managed a label, Block Star Entertainment, from behind bars. In 2010, he survived a prison stabbing after refusing to produce an album for a rival gang. After serving 26 years, Brown was paroled in 2018.
For parole. So when I got out, I was still a lifer.
Okay.
And you're still a lifer during parole. So you run a red light, that cop having a bad morning,
they're gonna
you go right back to prison with a life sentence as a lifer, and they'll see you when they want to figure out whether or not you should be released.
Following his release, he signed with BMG Rights Management, and in 2022, he signed a new deal with Strange Music.
Put me in the casket, to cremate the body, just divide the asset.
In the end, one thing must be said. All of these people would have been better off focusing on hip-hop rather than being involved in these tragic and violent stories. The world would be a better place. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell. You can also write a comment in the comment section down below. See you later on the Top Art Legends.